Yes, Yaram Doston. Today we are having with us Saloni Salim. She is a geopolitical analyst. She is an advocate, an author holding authority in maritime law and maritime security. Doston, this is a very important topic she is going to speak on. And whatever the views, opinions, and perspectives expressed by Saloni are their own and do not represent or reflect the views, positions, or policies of any organization, institution, or entity with which they are or may be affiliated. So I just want to say one thing. Few days back, Modi ji said that we are losing precious foreign exchange because we do not have the shipbuilding capacity. Like $65 billion we are spending on that. And one more thing, India has a coastline of around 7,518 kilometers. And from the coastline, if you see, India holds some sort of millions of square meters of natural resources in its exclusive economic zone. And the coastline of India has expanded to 11,099 kilometers after this realization. So it is imperative for India to protect its coastline. And Prime Minister started this Mahasagar initiative this March, and it is a very important initiative. I would like to know from our guest what exactly is this Mahasagar initiative and why it is important.
Thank you for having me on this podcast, Umesh, and thank you for your question. Uh, from where we look at it is the Mahasagar initiative is India's ocean map for the future. It secures sea lanes, boosts energy independence, and builds Indo-Pacific partnerships. I believe that just this year, India and Indonesia launched Port Blair Sabang corridor under Act East 2.0. If China has the maritime Silk Road, Mahasagar is India's way of saying we'll chart out our own waters. For your listeners, I think the takeaway is simple. Mahasagar is India's attempt to see the ocean not as empty water, but as our future highway, our energy resource, and our diplomatic bridge.
You mentioned about Port Blair. You mentioned about the Sabang port also. So it lies in a strategic place called Andaman and Nicobar Islands. What is so strategic about Andaman and Nicobar?
The Andamans guard the Malacca Strait, through which 5 trillion of trade passes each year. Just in 2025, India expanded INS Bars to host long-range patrol aircraft, while China quietly upgraded Myanmar's Coco Islands nearby. So the Andamans are not just a shield for India, they're a signal to the world about who shapes Indo-Pacific security. Basically, if you
That
imagine the Indo-Pacific as a chessboard, the Andamans are India's queen piece. They can defend, they can deter, and they can reassure partners all from one strategic location.
uh, recently our petroleum minister Hardeep Singh Puri stated that we have found that hydrocarbons equivalent to the reserves of French Guyana. And also it is stated the hydrocarbons beneath the Indian Ocean region is equivalent to the reserves of the Middle East. Some media channels even stated the value to be pegged around $20 trillion. And how important this hydrocarbon discovery it is, and how India is actually making efforts to guard it because the oceans remain unguarded. So, what we are doing in that case?
Umesh, I believe that energy and defense are inseparable. In April 2025, ONGC and oil got clearance from deep water blocks in the Andaman Basin. But offshore rigs are floating targets, whether due to piracy or drones. After the Red Sea disruptions that we saw, which raised India's oil bill by almost 12%, every barrel we drill locally is not just oil, it's resilience, and resilience demands protection. Listeners, all your listeners can think of hydrocarbons at sea as both treasure and target. Extracting them reduces dependency, but protecting them ensures that treasure doesn't become vulnerability.
You are absolutely right. Recently, I just came to know that India imports around 88.2% of its energy needs, and it is costing somewhere around $130 billion of precious foreign exchange. You are absolutely right. And to guard it, it is to guard the Andaman sea routes and to control piracy. It is very much important. So, just tell me, what role do the Andaman Sea routes play in the Indo-Pacific geopolitics?
Andaman Sea is India's vantage point. It is the Indo Pacific's heartbeat. It carries China's oil, Japan's trade, and ASEAN's data cables. This year, the Quad Malabar drills moved here, showing it's now central to collective security. Or, as I like to say, if the Pacific is the stage, the Andaman Sea is the backstage crew that keeps the show running. The key point is the Andaman Sea is just not a blue patch on the map. It's the artery through which global trade, energy, and information flow. If you control it, you shape the Indo Pacific's balance.
Yeah, that's that I understand very well. See, under the Mahasagar initiative, the Prime Minister launched this year, he mentioned about the blue water economy. Okay, and where do you see this initiative in the next 10 years?
In a decade, Mahasagar will be three things. It'll be a security net for our sea lanes, an energy cushion against shocks like we've seen during the COVID and the supply chain disruption during that time. It will also be a resilience framework for crises like oil spills and cyber attacks. With AI driven surveillance and blue economy integration, it won't be just India's plan, it will be the Indo Pacific's shared blueprint for stability. If the last century was all about who controlled the land, the next will be about who manages the seas. And Mahasagar is India's bet on that future.
You are absolutely right. If I am correct, India imports 95% of its goods by volume through sea lanes. What is the importance of this strategic marine logistics?
We have seen that disruption of marine logistics can increase the bills of any country because, as we know, 95% of the trade moves by sea. Marine logistics is the bloodstream of Mahasagar initiative. In defense terms, it ensures India's warships can sustain operations in the Andamans and beyond. For hydrocarbons, it means oil rigs are supplied and LNG tankers are secured. For trade, it means ports like Sabang, Dukum, and Chabahar become India's extended arm. Just in 2025, India's logistic pacts with countries like the US, France, Japan, Australia, and now the Philippines have effectively created a web of friendly ports, allowing India to project power and resilience far from its shores. So basically, think of logistics as the ocean's fuel lines. You don't seed them, but they keep everything running: warships, oil tanks, and trade routes. If these fuel lines stops, as we call them the choke points, the ocean stops. And whoever controls those lines controls the future, controls the Indo-Pacific's heartbeat.
Suddenly, one more thing I would like to ask you is you are very much spot on about controlling the logistics, trade routes, sea lines, and everything. But resource extraction is also very much important. And if you see, recently the Samudrayan project was launched, in which the Prime Minister stated about resource extraction from the ocean bed. And we do have lot of rare earth minerals in the Indian Ocean region. And it is also stated that India is trying to go deep water and trying to map the ocean bed and figure out what are the resources which are lying beneath and doing a 3D projection of the topography of the ocean bed. Do you see that India can actually do that? Because the I think we are too late in this. China had done this long back, and the strategic reason of acquiring Hambantota port for 99 years, despite not having an economic viability, states that China is eyeing those resources. our deep thing. How do you think we should counter it? Should we go for uh, indigenous exploration, or should we collaborate with the West? How should we do that?
Umesh, very good point brought out. And yes, you're absolutely right. India was late into this field, but India has been in the field now. Uh, Rare earth material extraction or hydrocarbon extraction from the deep sea is cost heavy. It requires equipments, and it also requires collaboration. India does have, and the Indian Ocean does have unexplored potential resources which can aid the demands of countries' fuel requirements. But in the long run, we have to have the wherewithal, and I think India is building on that capability, and I think India is also trying to collaborate with other countries where we can do this successfully and aid to our economy. So we are on that journey, but how long it's going to take or the cost that it's going to entail is just for us to see.
Thank you, Saloni. Your insights were really good, and it was a lovely conversation. And we are. Any more statements, closing statements? Would you like to add?
Umesh, firstly, thank you again for having me. It was a lovely interaction, very informative. I also got to learn a lot from you. I'd just like to end with this that as we look ahead, the seas will decide the future of nations. The land may define borders, but the oceans define connections. India's Mahasagar initiative is about securing those connections through defense, through hydrocarbons, through logistics, and through safe sea routes. It's about ensuring that the Andamans, the Malacca Strait, and the wider Indo Pacific remain arteries of stability. So, in the end, I'd just like to say Mahasagar, it's not just a national plan, it's a regional promise. Thank you.
Thank you, Saloni. We are happy to have you here, and in future also, I would be looking forward to more interesting conversations. Thank you, and Jai Siya Ram.
Jai Siya Ram. Thank you.